What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Heraldic deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely interesting deck that can summon out all sorts of awesome XZ monsters. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name scratched in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Leo. Leo's a definite 3 of in the build with a great effect that when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to instantly grab the exact card that you need. Plus this card comes out at 2,000 attack points, which is massive for a level 4 monster. We then play 3 copies of Aberconway. Aberconway is really good as a 3 of in the deck, because this card has the ability, if this card's in the graveyard, you can actually banish another copy of this card from the graveyard, and then target a Heraldic Beast monster in the graveyard and add that target to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly recover a card out of the grave. We then play 3 copies of Ampisbana. This card is really cool as a 3 of in the deck, and one of the most powerful extenders in the entire build because it lets you discard one other Heraldic Beast monster to special summon this card from the hand. Also, once per turn, you can discard a Heraldic Beast monster, and this card gains 800 attack until the end of the turn, which is a pretty cool effect to boost this card's attack points. We then play 2 copies of Unicorn. Unicorn is a really interesting card, but I feel like 2 is all you need in this deck, as this card lets you banish this card from the graveyard to target a Psychic type XZ monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but its effects are negated, but it helps you bring back a monster to your side of the field, which is a really cool effect. We then play 2 copies of Eel. Eel is really good in the deck as a 2 of as an extender, because if you control 2 or more Heraldic Beast monsters, you can special summon this card from the hand, but I feel like 2 is really all you need. We then play a single copy of Twin-Headed Eagle. Twin-Headed Eagle is definitely a 1 of in the deck, and it helps out a lot in this build to get you multiple XZ materials back under one of your monsters, because you can actually banish this card in the graveyard and then target a face-up XZ monster you control with no materials under it, and 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in the graveyard, and attach those monsters from the graveyard to that face-up XZ monster as XZ materials, which is a great effect to be able to use in this deck, especially with the different monsters we're playing in this extra deck. We then play a single copy of Falcon. Falcon is great as a 1 of to play in this deck, but you only need a single copy of this card. It has the ability, when this card is summoned, you can make all face-up level 5 or higher monsters that you currently control become level 4, which is a pretty interesting effect to be able to use to basically make everything a level 4. We then play a single copy of Duke. Duke is great in the deck as a 1 of because it's easily summoned in this deck because it is a Psychic type Terverion monster, and it's very good to be able to play in the deck to be able to just summon this card out to your side of the field, and it is searchable in this deck, which is why we're just playing a single copy. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good as a 3 of in the deck to basically just stop the opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is really good as a 1 of in the deck because you're constantly sending your Heraldic Beasts to the graveyard, so this card helps you bring them back to your side of the field so you can go in for XZ plays. We'll play a single copy of Armored XZ. Armored XZ is really good in this deck because it's very easy to make rank 4s and then go in for the Armored XZ package in this deck, giving you a really powerful boss monster in the form of Dark Knight Lancer. We then play a single copy of Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is really amazing in this deck to be able to summon out your copy of Utopia Double, detach your material from it, and search this card directly from your deck to your hand, and then instead of making Utopia in this deck, we're actually making Dragnar, because it can help us summon out other XZ monsters, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of Advanced Art. Advanced Art is really good as a 1 of in the deck, so it lets you target the 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in the graveyard, special summon both those targets, and immediately as effect resolves, you get to XZ summon an XZ monster using only those 2 monsters, which is a great effect to bring back 2 monsters to your side of the field and essentially be a 1-card XZ summon. We then play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is really good as a 2 of in the deck. So basically give us 3 broken effects to either draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at our opponent's hand and choose a card from it and shuffle it into the deck, which is a really cool effect to be able to use. We then play 2 copies of the Field Spell. This card is really good as a 2-of in the deck, and I really like this card overall because Psychic type XZ monsters on the field cannot be targeted by spell or trap effects, and also once per turn, you can discard a Heraldic Beast monster to add a Heraldic spell or trap from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, but you cannot normal or special summon monsters during the turn you activate the effect, except for Psychic type XZ monsters and Heraldic Beast monsters, which is not that big of a deal because it's just going to help you get the exact cards that you need. We then play 3 copies of Reborn. Reborn is definitely a 3-of in the deck. This card helps out so much in the deck, basically being an in-archetype monster reborn that is not once per turn, letting you target a Heraldic Beast monster in the graveyard and special summon it. We then play 3 copies of Charged Up. Charged Up is really good as a 3-of in the deck, letting you attribute a monster to special summon 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from the deck and defense position. Also, you cannot special summon from the extract for the rest of the turn after you activate this card, except for Psychic or Machine monsters, which is not that big of a deal because it's basically all we're summoning anyways, but this card is amazing in the deck to help you get more monsters out on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Extra Foolish Burial. Extra Foolish Burial is definitely a 3-of in the deck to be basically a starter for the build to help you send to your graveyard your copy of your Patriarch, which is better in the graveyard than on your side of the field. So it's really good to be able to use this card to basically send your copy of Patriarch to the graveyard. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Full Armored XZ. Full Armored XZ is really good as a 1-of in the deck to basically work with our Armored XZ package so that we can summon our copy of Dark Knight Lancer using this card and then also banish it from the graveyard to be able to use its effect to then target an XZ monster you control and equip one other XZ monster from face up from field or your graveyard to the monster, which is a great effect to be able to use to basically just instantly equip a monster to your copy of your Dark Knight Lancer and then use Dark Knight Lancers to be able to eat one of your opponent's cards. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with number 18. Number 18 is really good as a 1-of in the deck, but you always want to get this card into the graveyard. And this card is actually a very interesting card that has the ability once per chain during either player's turn, if 2 or more monsters with the same name are on the field, you can detach an XZ material from this card, choose one monster among those monsters with the same name, and destroy all other monsters with the same name. Also, while this card remains face up on the field, your opponent cannot summon monsters with the same name as any monsters that was chosen by this card's effect. But the main effect you want to use on this card is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually send 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck to the graveyard, which is why you play Extra Foolish Burial in the deck to be able to send cards to the graveyard like Aberconway and your copy of Leo so we can get an additional search, which is very important for the build. We then play a single copy of number 8. Number 8 is really good as a 1-of in the build, and just an awesome boss monster that's super easy to summon, that has the ability once per turn, you can actually target a face-up XZ monster that your opponent controls, and this card's name and original attack points become that monster's name and current attack points, and this card effects becomes that monster's original effect. Then, this card also has the ability that then that monster's attack becomes 0 and its effects are negated, and these changes last until the end of the turn, which is a pretty interesting effect for this card to have, because you can basically copy cards like Zeus just in case you need to. Then play a single copy of number 69, Crest. This card is really cool as a 1-of in the deck, and I really like this card overall, and it's an amazing XZ monster that has the ability that when this card is special summon, you negate the effects of all other face-up XZ monsters currently on the field. You can also detach, you can actually target one other face-up XZ monster on the field until the end phase, this card's name and the original effect becomes the same as that monster, which is a pretty interesting effect for this card to have. I'm playing a single copy of Heavy Armored Freight Train. This card is really good as a one-of in the deck. Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf is just really good to play in the deck because this card just basically lets you attack directly, which is a really cool ability to basically make a copy of Zeus. We then play a single copy of number 41. Number 41 is really good to be able to play, but Guska just helps out so much in the build to help you slow down the game just in case you need to. We play a single copy of Reader. The reason we're playing Reader in this deck is because it is a Psychic XZ monster, and it's just a great boss monster to be able to make in this deck. We then play a single copy of Merrymaker. Merrymaker is a machine, so we can summon it out very easily in this deck, and then we can summon out our copy of Gigantic Champion Sargus on top of it, basically making a monster that can search out our copy of Duke, which is a great ability to instantly get to our copy of Duke, so we can summon it out to our side of the field and get an additional body. We then play a single copy of Armor Fortress. Armor Fortress is great because you make this on top of any rank 4 monster. But the reason I'm actually playing the Heavy Armor Train as well in the deck is because you can actually detach a material from the Heavy Armor Train, and then when you make your copy of your Armor Fortress on top of it, it will have 2 materials under Armor Fortress, so you can detach both of them and search the Armored XZ spell and trap, so that later on you can make your copy of Dark Knight Lancer, because the only downside to your copy of your Armor Fortress is that it actually cannot be used as an XZ material as long as it has a material under itself, so you want to be able to just make it with 2 materials with your copy of your Heavy Armor Train having 1 material under it, so that when you overlay it on top of your copy of your Heavy Armor Train, it'll just have 2 materials, the one that was originally under this and the copy of your Heavy Armor Train. Basically, your copy of your Dark Knight Lancer is one of the main boss monsters in this deck that you want to summon out to your side of the field with your copy of your XZ armor cards that are in the main deck, and it's just a really good boss monster to be able to make. Then I have a single copy of Utopia Double. Utopia Double is amazing in the deck as a one-of to basically detach a material from this card, search out a copy of Double or Nothing, and then make a copy of Utopia Dragnar on top of it, which has an amazing ability to help you summon out other XZ monsters, because quick effect, you detach 2 materials from this card and then special summon from your extract 1 number monster that has a number between 1 and 100 in its name, which is amazing to help you summon out your copy of either number 38 or your copy of number 90. And your copy of Twin-Headed Eagle can give you additional materials under your copy of Dragnar or under these monsters, just in case you need to. But it's amazing to summon these cards out because your copy of number 90 is a monster negate, and your copy of number 38 is a spell negate, which is really good to be able to summon these cards out to your side of the field, depending on the situation. You finally play a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is just amazing in just about any deck, especially decks like this that play just XZ monsters. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is really interesting to play. If you guys have never played Heraldic Beast before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's a very interesting deck that I hope gets support soon because it's a really cool deck overall. It has some amazing artwork and has some really interesting potential, especially with decks that have the same name. So, that's going to be for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.